What's up, nerds? Love the catchphrases. Love it, dude. All right, guys, we're in this. Oh, I haven't prayed yet. All right, let's go ahead and pray. All right, guys, good to see you. Let's get into it, dude. Jesus, I just thank you for each of these students. Even thinking about just yesterday, thinking about how we had like club day and just seeing the different avenues of like being around people. I think there was like the powder puff football meetings and everything like that, and like homecoming's coming up. It's just first quarter's almost over. The whole process of school is just kind of taking shape right now, and I just pray that each of these students, no matter how they feel about that process right now, I pray that they just understand that there's something much bigger above it and beyond it, and that those little pieces, whether it be a quiz here, a paper there, a project here, expectation there, a conversation here, maybe a misunderstanding there, finding out that they didn't get invited to something here, or like a joke that kind of stuck with them and they kind of thought about it again while they were like laying down a bed. Just like all these things, just all these like little bits and pieces that we just kind of feel like we're all trying to hold on to, and some of them are like slipping through our fingers and we just don't really know what to do. I just pray that anxiety, which is very, very real, and it pulls us into something, makes us ask a lot of questions, and makes us like want things, desire things, and makes us dream about things. I just pray that be something that we just offer up to you in true worship and like give you that hallelujah, just saying that you know every single one of those things and that you will bring all those things back around full circle for us at some point, not just so that we can know those things better and feel like we did those things right, but really so that we know you better and know who you are in the midst of all those teeny tiny little details of our life that we don't feel like are spiritual or we don't feel actually matter in your eyes. There's not a single thing that happens in our life, not a single iota of our day that happens in our days that doesn't matter to you and that you're not going to use for something amazing down the road or even right then in that moment. The things that kind of just make our brains feel fuzzy or our hearts feel light and our guts feel like they're flipping over. I just thank you so much for those little things. And I pray that this class be something that you want it to be today. I pray that the conversations we have, the things that we think about, and even just the development of the story just be something that brings us closer to you. In your precious name, amen. All right, guys, let's get it, dude. All right, so this was where we stopped, was with this guy, this blind guy. What was his name? Phineas. It did have an S in there. Nice. All right, and then he was being real bothered by these pretty ladies, the Harpies. All right, until these two guys. Yes, the sons of Boreas, Zetes and Calais. I don't know why, I just don't like his name. There's something about it just feels like not good. But yeah, Zetes and Calais, they were like, oh, we're actually distant relatives of you. You're like also a descendant of Boreas of some kind over in Thrace. We're also descendants of Boreas. We don't have the same mom, but we're brothers from another mother, dude. So we're going to save you from these nasty little sisters, dude. And who are those? They're the dogs, the dirty dogs of Zeus, all right? And so he then gives them this prophecy as a gift. He's like, hey, I literally cannot thank you enough. I haven't eaten in like however long. I'm like a skeleton or whatever. And so I just want to go ahead and warn you of what's to come. And so he tells them, he's like, hey, I know that I'm about to give you a lot of things that sound really awful, but I, as someone who has clear sight, I can see the beauty of the overarching fate that resides on top of each of y'all's individual destiny, which is such a sick concept, dog. All right? And so he goes in, he says, I know that it's going to sound awful. Like the Symplegades, those are literally like floating cliff sides that are going to try and chew you guys alive. But I'm going to tell you how to get through them, and you will make it through. I've seen it. I'm also going to talk to you about the land of the Miriandini, all right, which has like an opening to the underworld in it. Like you're going to go to this place. You're going to touch some marvelous sides. You guys are going to possibly even see the Amazons, depending on what you choose to do. You will go into the land of the Amazons. Yeah, let's go, dude. Power of women, dude. You're also going to see the Calibes, all right? The Calibes are people who can dig ore out of the earth with their hands. So just like these, you're going to pass all these amazing places. You're going to see all of these amazing things, and then you're going to end up in Colchis. You're going to make it. I've seen it. So I know that like gifts in the hospitality system are great and all. Like some people get like really cool, like you even think about like video game things. It's like if you go and like do a side quest for somebody, you like help them or whatever, they'll usually like give you something as a result of that. The reason why it feels so delightful and it feels right and it feels like you have closure with people is because guys, guess what? That's the code of hospitality. That's what like ends a quest for you in a video game. You're just like, heck yeah, I got this thing. And you usually get a gift from that person. It's awesome. It feels great. And it's usually like sick and unique and like very, whatever. And then you feel tied to this person. Sometimes even if you play like a really well-designed video game, like if you guys play Red Dead 2 or something like that, dude, that game is truly a novel. I don't know how to explain it. Every NPC in that game is like a real person. Like, you watch a dude chop down a tree for 30 minutes if you want. And he will, and he'll be so excited about it. And then he'll go down and he'll chop down another tree. Like, it's just crazy, dude. But yeah, and then if you help somebody, they'll be there for you back. It's just this give and take sort of relationship in this dark age world where like everything's kind of unknown, warfare, greed, differences are abounding. I can at least be a good host. I can at least be a good guest. It's this thing that just resides steady underneath. And I would say that this gift of assurance, dude, was one of the most incredible things that Phineas could have given to the Argonauts. Because they had already dealt with grief, temptation, dissension, losing somebody, assurance, man. I remember there was a program that Kia did, or Hyundai, y'all know the car brand Hyundai? Yeah. In 2008, y'all know what happened in 2008?
Market crash.
Yeah, the recession happened. So like everybody literally was just like, oh, I'm broke. Everybody. It was really, really scary for everyone. Didn't matter what kind of business you were in. It was literally just like, there's no money here. It was all a lie. And it was awful, because it was. And the banks knew it, and they allowed it to happen because everybody was having a really great time. And Hyundai did this thing where they were just like, everybody needs cars. I don't know how to explain this well. But they were just like, some people had to sell their cars in order to like get enough money to like make it through the next like 4 months. It was really awful. I don't know if you guys weren't alive then, were you? You were like just born? Yeah, it was crazy. I was 14, and so I was like just old enough to start seeing like my parents freak out about things like that and like understand like how scary it was. But like Hyundai did this thing where it was like, I know that a lot of people have to sell their cars. Just show us that this is the process that you're going through, and we'll give you one. Just knowing that like you're gonna have like a process to like pay us back whenever you're able. And they called it like Hyundai Assurance. And that word for me, and like seeing my dad like respond to that commercial, we're just watching like Sunday football one day. He's like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen a company do. I'll like never forget that. Because like assurance really is just like one of the craziest gifts. It's just like being there for someone when they haven't necessarily done anything to deserve it. They don't have a relationship with each other yet. But that's what this hospitality code is. This like guest host relationship is. So what I'm gonna do here, because we're running out of time, I didn't know about this week, dude. What the heck is this week, bro? What is going on, dude? We like don't have school on Friday, but we do. Like, do we have school on Friday? What's going on? I don't know.
Like, if you have zeros or like makeup work, then you're supposed to show up.
Oh, cool. All right. All my classes have been saying different stuff. Like, no, you have to go. So whatever. I don't know, whatever. So what I'm doing right now, I just want you guys to know, is I'm kind of condensing what I had, and I'm just gonna do it really fast. All right, which is fine because it's just a cool story, anyways. So here's the remaining journey to Colchis. All right, remaining journey. All right, that is the Simplicities. I think that's a really sick painting. You can just see you can just see him closing. And there's the dove. Remember they have to like match the pace of a dove to like make it through. So this is really fun. Yeehaw! Just kidding. I actually have a cool little thing for you guys. All right, so my good tip, all of them are like kind of freaking out. They're like, what are we gonna do? And I really like this thing that Jason does. It just shows that he's like a really good leader. He's not just one who's practical, but he's one who's like deeply tied into his relationships with all of his men. And he says this to Tiphys, who had basically just kind of had a little panic attack on the helm of the boat. My good Tiphys, I have tried the gods by allowing Peleus to impose this task upon me. Wild sentence. My good Tiphys, I have tried the gods. Do y'all know what he means by I have tried the gods by allowing Peleus to impose this task upon me?
He could be like going against the will of the gods because he's going on the will of man, right?
Well, not quite. I can see how you're saying that. Not quite, though. What he's saying right here is he's basically saying, like, I pushed my luck. This is too much. When I read that for the first time, I was like, Jason, you absolute punk. What are you doing? He keeps going, though. Rather, should I have just let him destroy me now? And I must just spend my days and nights in sighs, S-I-G-H-S. I'm so dumb. That's what I meant to write. Sighs, like, sighs and distress. Not for myself, but for your lives and welfare. And in pondering how may I save you from peril and return you unharmed to your native land. What did he just do? I love this part.
Assuring them that they'll get back safe. He's kind of like admitting he was wrong. And,
In a way, see, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. She's not wrong at all. He's basically saying, like, this is too much. We should go back. I love this dude. This is that halftime coach, baby. This is a good halftime coach, dude. All right? He was like, man, you guys were right in this practice. This is too hard. We should leave. Dude, I remember one of my coaches did that to me one time. He, like, really did the, like, good cop thing. I don't know if you guys are athletes or whatever, if you guys, like, play. We talked about this. But, like, dude, when a coach just comes in and all of a sudden they just, like, have this, like, dejected attitude, we're just like, man, okay, I guess, like, just try and, like, stay on, like, I don't know, defense. Like, keep that, like, 5 strong in the back. Like, I hear that, I'm just like, F you, dude. Like, I just, like, all of a sudden I just get so, I'm just like, you don't think we... And so that's what he does, dude. That's what he does right here. It's the coolest thing. All the dudes are like, are you kidding me? Easy money. See that dove? Beating that dove. Like, they just go crazy. And then he just turns around the way that Apollonius writes it. He, like, turns around and he just smiles. Have you guys ever seen Miracle? Huh? You guys haven't seen Miracle, dude? Then write it down, dude. I'm giving you what you need. All right? You must watch Miracle. You must. Because he does this. The coach does this. He goes in. He doesn't do it like the petty kind of thing. He gets in like one of the dude's faces and just like, you're not a hockey player. And dude, it is so tight. And he leaves. And it's like in between one of the periods. And he leaves the locker room and he like passes his coach. And he's like, that should get him riled up. It's just so, If y'all don't play sports, y'all need to play sports. I'm just saying. All right, it is. It for sure is. That's what he was doing. So anyways, that took way too long. I'm sorry. I just really like that part. All right. So these are a bunch of the further adventures you guys can see on that pot. That's a really exciting one. All right. Unfortunately, Tiphys, this guy who like was like the leading conversation where like all of this got started, you know, like talking to the captain kind of thing. Tiphys is the helmsman. He gets really sick one day and just dies. It was just out of nowhere. I was like, dude, no, more grief. But they knew, like in the moment, they had already gone through grieving before. They were like, this just allows somebody else to step into the realm of greatness, to like take on Tiphys's greatness. It's a really cool conversation. Once again, the story is just the best, man. All right. Then we have Sthenelus and Mopsus. What do I want to say about Sthenelus and Mopsus? This is basically, you have this this little scene here. Hey, give me a second, okay? You have this little scene here where they are passing. Okay, so this guy had died. He's dead. All right? And he had a conversation. He was like, I can feel the presence of some of my friends up above. And so he goes to Persephone and he's like, hey, can I just like have a couple minutes to go and see what they're doing? And she's like, yeah. So he goes up as a shade. And she doesn't allow him to go close to them. But he goes up on top of one of the rocks that they're passing. And Sthenelus basically looks down on them and just like longs for them. Just like longs to be with his boys again. All right, talking about sports narratives and sports analogies, like the dude who tore his hamstring senior year, you know? He just like wants to be on the field, you know? But he can't do anything about it on the sideline. But Mopsus, the seer, he has clear sight as well. He senses the presence of this shade. And he looks up and he sees him for a brief second. And he's gone. And right in that moment, Mopsus just says, we got to remember Sthenelus. And they actually go up and they see that his body had never been remembered. And so then they have this really amazing little libation ceremony for him. And have you guys ever seen like the pouring out? You know, like pouring out for the boys? Like, you know, like football teams do it. Like poor Eagles, they had to do it all the time in like the 70s and 80s. Like they just lose, the Eagles lose, and you know, as the dudes are leaving the game after the fourth quarter's over, they just, I'm talking about sports all the time. You take your beer and you just pour out a little bit. Guys, that's a libation. Like nobody like thinks about it like that, but that is, it's literally a giving up of your drink, a drink offering, and saying like, this is for those who have lost. So you pour one out for your boys. All right? Stop laughing at me, dude. It's real, dog. It's so real. And so that's what they do because they're in the earth. What do you become when you get buried? Earth. So when you pour one out for your boys, you're giving it to them to drink. All right, so that's what it is. And so they pour one out for Sthenelus, and it's actually a really sweet moment. All right, they are about to get, there's this really cool like scene where they're about to get like in really, really hardcore date. Guys, I don't think I have to say this. Don't mess with the Amazons. They're apex predators, bro. There's like nobody better than the Amazons. Nobody. All right? So they almost got swept into the Amazons by a river, but out of nowhere. And this is where I'm kind of getting you with that like capital D, capital F, destiny and fate kind of thing. They're about to get swept down the wrong avenue of a river to go towards the Amazons, and it just says this wind just gets them and pulls them. So it's just this overarching thing that keeps them from something that they don't need to deal with. And I just love that image, dude. I just love that image. Because when I live my life, when I'm going through all my tough stuff, that's when I start to say, like, man, God, you gave your strongest warrior something too much. Because we're seeing that like phrase, a dumb phrase. But it's good. Like, it's cheesy, but it's good. It's like, I really do have faith that he's only going to give me what I can handle. And they couldn't handle that, which I think is so interesting. I know that I'm reading into it probably a little too far, but that's what I love to do. All right? They couldn't handle the Amazons. The greatest of the great of whatever their city-state was and whatever their thing was, they couldn't handle them. They weren't supposed to go and do that. And I just love that. It's the measuring, the humility, the humbling, the bringing down that honestly each of these quests so far has kind of done. It's just like it takes these greatest of the greats. And so far all it's done is just, but can you do, can you? Like, I think that's so sick. It's not just setting stages for these great heroes to just go and whoop tail. Like, they've done wrong things. Accidents have happened. They've struggled with this or that. That's why I think the story lasted so long. Is because
for when they beat up that dude and partied in his house.
Except for that. That's where yes, thank you, dude. That is so, thank you for saying that. Because that was like the relief. It was like, okay, the person telling the story is like, okay, but they need to do something cool. And yeah, boxing matches usually. Yeah, thank you for saying that. That's good. All right. So then they go and they see the Calibes. I can just skip past that. It's not really that cool. All right. But then this one's pretty cool. All right. They land in an island called Aritia. Does anybody see any derivative in that word? Aritia? Ares. This is the land of Ares. All right. Literally everything on this land tries to kill you. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's his land. So everything in it is just chaotic and trying to like rip you apart. So they don't know that they're close to Aritia yet, but this bird flies over their boat and it just like shakes its feathers a little bit, shakes its tail feathers, and one of its tail feathers falls onto a dude's shoulder and like hits him in the shoulder, and he like wants to die. He's like begging his men to like kill him. Like the essence of this place, the nature, the everything of this place is just death. All right, so these birds like start to attack him, and like one of the dudes is like, yo man, they're called the Stymphalides. He's like, dude, if we try and fight these, we're gonna die. I've heard about these birds. We can't do it. We're gonna die. So we gotta go, and that's what this is. So they actually do a cool thing. Have you ever heard about the Tortuga formation with like the rocket javelin? All right, where they like put the like shields over their head and stuff like that. So they do it. They're like, oh, birds, oh no, no, no. And they're like screaming in distress and distress and distress. And they're like, ah, psych. And then they put their shields over their head. And then they have their little archers and the little sling guys underneath. And then they take them out. And then they make it. It's just cool. So win for the Argonauts. That was a pretty fun one. What else do we got? Oh, then all of a sudden they land on this island. And there are these like 4 young kids that come out. And they're like, help us, help us, help us. All right, and of course, the Argonauts being the good guys are like, for sure, like, are you good, dude? And then they walk up to him and they like give him, and then some of the dudes are like, I kind of recognize you. And dude, these guys are descendants of Phrixus.
Is that the guy who killed Chris O'Malley?
Yes.
No, not Chris O'Malley.
Not Chris O'Malley. We love Chris O'Malley. So this was the guy. These are descendants of Phrixus. These are technically, and this is what's crazy. This is how you know we're getting close to Colchis, is because these guys are technically relatives to King Aeetes, the king of Colchis. Because remember, Phrixus was married to one of Aeetes' daughters, and these are those descendants. So, dude, they have these stranded boys that went on a journey. They have these stranded boys that are relatives of the king, and they're like, dude, this is awesome. We were like really good hosts to them. We like showed them that we were good guys, and then we found out that they were like basically a ticket there. But dude, these guys are like, yo, I know that like the story that everybody has heard is that, Aeetes welcomed Phrixus in, like, and was like a really good host. But ever since he has had possession of that fleece that was dedicated to Ares, dude has become a douche. So they're like, oh no. And this is when the strategy of the Argonauts like really starts to come into play. And this is why I really love this part. All right. This is when they give them a bunch of warnings. They're like, yo, I know that y'all have heard that Aeetes is like, a good king in Colchis. It's a very like well-to-do place, but like He's so proud. He is so proud. And he is, dude. He's amazing. He's a descendant of the gods. Like this guy, he has a rad backstory. I'm just not going to give it because we don't have to. But he's a really, really strong dude. And Peleus takes these warnings. And guys, let me just go ahead and say something to you. He's not this dude's dad yet, but Peleus is the dad of Achilles. So when I say that like all the Argonauts have something amazing to do, you could go down any avenue you want, you'll find something dope, you will, bro. Peleus is the dad of Achilles. He basically says those warnings, and he says something really cool to me. Okay, it's gonna take. All right, he has a really cool like pump up speech against the warnings. He's like, we can do it, we can blah blah blah. All right, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're like pulling up the Caucasus, and then this huge eagle flies overhead, and this like doesn't fit, but this is the kind of stuff in stories where I'm like, heck yes, like eat it up. The eagle flies overhead. And yeah, why does Zeus hate Prometheus? Prometheus gave human beings fire, which is like the essence of the gods, presence of the gods. He gave it to the human beings to use at their own accord. And Zeus told them not to do that, told Prometheus not to do that because he wants humans to be completely dependent on him. But Prometheus took on this like high priestly sort of like position for humans and said, let me give you a way to connect with the gods whenever you need. Oh, that's so cool to me, dude. The concept of the high priest, dude. Have I talked to you all about that word? How sick that word is? Pontifex. Does anybody know what the root of this word is? Pontus, which means bridge. And fex comes from fakara, meaning to make. So a pontifex, a priest, is this bridge maker. So when you think about fire as like this presence of priestly jobs, because you don't have priestly things doing anything without burning of some kind. Burning of incense, the burning of an animal, you know what I mean? Dude, it's just fire, man. That's why like when you're at a campfire and stuff like that, and you've been like hiking through the woods, dude, if y'all haven't done like a through hike of something yet, you have to. Watch Miracle, go on a through hike. Like, dude, get like a pack that has like enough for like 2 days and just go out with somebody who you know is tough enough. Bethany, all right? Do it, dude, seriously. Do it. Get outside, go sleep in the woods, be terrified of the darkness. I don't care, go somewhere else then, okay? Get up on a plane, bro. It's 2023, dog. Yeah, seriously, go to the swamps. I don't care. Just go figure it out. Just go do it. It's so sick, dude. You're going to be so scared. You're going to be with somebody. But what's going to happen is y'all are going to start a fire and everything's going to be okay. It's the coolest thing ever. It's the coolest. I'm going to fight you. All right. I just love it, dude. I love it. All right, so then they enter into Caucasus, all right? And this is when we see Jason as an extremely pious guy. He just has this moment where I want to be like this, dude. He has this moment where he's like about to go in, and he just like has this sort of reflective time. He's like, guys, can y'all believe it? And he just looks at them, and they're like, what? He's just like, can you believe it? And they just all like sit really still for a little bit. I was like, can you believe everything that we've just done? And like, we're here, and it's just so cool. He just like has that sort of a moment where I'm just like, dude, that's how I want to be like every day, dude. And he just like worships God. And he's just like, I can't thank you enough for everything that we've done. And like, we're about to do something really great, but I just thank you so much for what we're already capable of. It's just so cool, dude. Jason pulls like a really cool move right there. All right? Don't worry, he's a douche, just like every single person in the world. But he's going to do bad things. I'm sorry to tell you. Everybody sucks. All right? You're going to have really, really great moments like this where you feel just so close to God and so grateful to God, and then you're going to stick your middle fingers up to him every other day. Okay? Because that's just what happens. All right? Then they start to have this discussion. They're like, hold on. We really have like two things here. Do we go in like sneaky mode, like SEAL Team 6, like Rainbow Patrol, and like we just try and like snag it and go? Do we like kill people and stuff? Or do we go and like confront face value? And so they start to have this like, I don't know, like really long deliberation, which I really, really like. As they're entering into Caucasus, they're like, shoot, dude, we haven't really thought about this. And this new kind of intel that we've gotten from the descendants of Phrixus is kind of like changing our opinion about what we should do. All right? And so then they're just like, yo,
It's the A-team.
A-team, baby. We gotta like figure it out, dude. And this is what I love. The reason why I put this picture up there is because Jason goes just like straight, like, I don't think we should plan. I think we should figure it out as we go. And dude, I just love it. I love how he's just like, you know what? We're here. What have we heard all this time? This whole entire trip, what have we heard? What have they heard? This entire trip, what have they heard?
That they're not in control.
We're not in control. And where are we supposed to be? We're supposed to be here. And it's so sick. He just goes into this and he's like, why are we scared? Why are we worried about this? Like, we've been promised time and time again that we are who we're supposed to be. We have who we're supposed to have with us. We've gone through what we've been supposed to go through, and we've come out the other side, and all I have is a hallelujah. So why do I have to come up with a plan? It's so tight, dude. All right? So they just go straight crazy mode. And dude, this is crazy. It's like right after that happened, they walk into caucus. Oh, dude, this is crazy because it's just unexpected. Absolute blindside. All right, does anybody know what these are? These are called caucus blackwoods. All right? Don't go camping where these are. Because they're the scariest trees in the entire world. And there's a reason why they're called caucuses. And it's because the moss that hangs from them looks like dead bodies. Because when they walked into caucus, they found out that there was a custom there that they only wanted to bury and feed the earth women. So anytime a man died, they would hang them upside down from trees. It is, but it's just crazy. They're just consistent. So they walk in. Guys, come on. That's so sick. Especially where like they're on this high of like praising God, like we got this, like yeah. They go and she's like, are you sure? Like I just love that, dude. Because that's sort of like what I was talking to you guys about the whole baptism thing from like the early onset of the year. It's like you're like on fire, you like really want it, you see all these like really great things that have happened, you know, the promises and good, and then the very next thing that happens, I guarantee you, anybody who truly does try to follow the Lord, the very next thing that happened is just like, oh man, that wasn't all real. I can't do this, bro. I'm just telling you, dude, it will never, ever go differently than that. Ever. Anybody who's telling you anything different is preaching the prosperity gospel, which is a lie, bro. It is a lie. You're going to face worse things when you give yourself up to something else's control than you ever did before. It's crazy, all right? So then Hera brings her mist.
Wait, what is the plan?
No way.
Oh.
All right, sorry, not that mist.
Mr. Yuri, what
Sorry,
is
not
the
that
plan
mist.
called?
All right, she brings the mist, all right?
Mr. Yuri, what is the plant called?
It's called the caucus. I think it's called the blackwood or something
I
like
looked it up
that.
and I can't find it.
The caucus.
It gives me math teachers. Yeah, because it all refers to calculus blackwood. It's like, would you like a math tutor named Blackwood?
The caucus
I don't.
hanging tree. It's called the... Come on. Boxwood, not blackwood. Boxwood. Boxwood caucus. What'd you say?
That's not true.
Y'all are related. I'm not going to talk to you. All right, so this is the mist, all right? Who has been like kind of the silent patroness of this entire journey? Hera, very good, all right? She has just kind of, given a little bit of a protective essence towards her children of fate here. They're not her children, but they're the children of destiny that she wants to have win. Because remember, she has this really deep-rooted resentment against Peleus for what he did in her temple way, way, way long ago. All right? Oops. All right? So, they then walk into the city of Colchis, guys, and they are just like they saw, the horror and like the, the tradition. It's like, man, why does my... Have you ever seen the movie After Earth? It's really stupid. It's got Will Smith in it and his son. And they
I've seen that.
you have where they like fight against these animals that can sense your fear. They sense your fear kind of stuff. And that's what they had at first. They like have these like dead people hanging from trees, which is crazy because that's like what the animals would do in that movie. They would like mutilate the bodies and hang them from trees and stuff. And it's almost kind of like a warning. And I feel like maybe the custom was developed. I'm not sure. I'm making this up as I go. But I'm not sure if Aietes like came up with that hanging person custom or not. But it kind of fit with me when I like read the whole story of like how his pride had changed since the Golden Fleece had become his or whatever. I was like, maybe he does put that up as like a warning, like don't come here unless you like really want to. But anyways, they pass all the scary, horrible parts of the outside realm of Colchis, and then they see Colchis for the first time. And it is just like they're marveling at the marble. They're looking at the pillars, all of the wild monuments, the temples, the rivers, the lush green. Like they're just marveling at it. It's just an amazing place. All right? And then people start to pour out because they come in through the channel. They come in and on the Argo, and people are like, who is this boat? I've never seen a boat like this. It looks like an incredible boat. And look at all these men. They're amazing men and women on this boat. And they come through and people start to pour out. And Medea comes out. And so does her sister. I can't think of her name. It's like Calliope or something like that. She comes out. And they start to cry. Why do they start to cry?
They're back. No, wait, no.
Who?
Jason.
Back. You said it. Who's back? The 4 kids. The 4 young men that they had saved. So immediately it's like this entry ticket into like the good graces of these people. And so that's sort of what happens. All right? Immediately when they get there, the Colchians are like, we gotta throw you guys a festival. This is absolutely marvelous. You know, y'all have done something that we truly, never thought was gonna happen. We thought they were dead. So this is in Colchis. This is obviously like a very medieval painting. You guys can see like everybody's got like anachronistic, garb on. That's like very medieval garb, not like ancient Greek garb or whatever. And the boats look like medieval boats and stuff like that. But it does have that sort of like, seaside essence that Colchis would have had because they're right on the Black Sea right up there and on the very far eastern side. All right. And the one thing that Jason and the Argonauts notice is that the whole time they're there, they can't find one person who was not occupied with something of service for the king. This is the line that Apollonius uses. Every single person here is working with joy for something greater than themselves. All right? And this is so weird. This is why this dude is like one of the most, I don't know, nobody knows the name Aeetes, but he's such a conundrum to me, man. Because like we've heard good things about him, amazing things, especially like the story, like people have heard that story of the Golden Fleece and Phrixus and Hellas before. Like he's a good, hospitable guy, and he is to them even now. But it's like we also have these weird underlying warnings of this ruler who is proud. And if you guys ever had studied like ancient history, if I ever got to like give you guys my theme of ancient history, it's this one thing. If you want to study history at all, with power comes its sister, paranoia. There's no such thing where that's not the case. No matter how great the power, the paranoia matches it fraternally, dude. So you got to understand, if you want to see someone great, get ready to see someone scared, because that's what paranoia is, fear of losing your power to another. Not even just losing it yourself, someone took it. Like, this is it. Like, you see what I mean? Because remember that, like, really annoying little PowerPoint I made where I was, like, going through movie after movie after movie after book after book after book? It's the theme. You don't want to watch movies or read books where power is not a part to play. But good luck finding a good, true story about power that's uncorrupted. Remember what I said? Doesn't matter how great you are, how much you give yourself to God, how much of a friend to God you are, how much he's a friend to you. You suck. Nobody wants to admit that either. Because everybody wants to, at some point, have control of their power, however big or small their power is. So, this is interesting. Because this place is set up so beautifully. An incredible place. Because the whole world, it's like, how beautiful communism is on paper. It's just like the most amazing thing on paper, dude. But then when you put people into the equation, sucks. All right? And then, of course, we have Medea. Dude, Medea in this movie is a baddie, dude. That's exactly what I was going to say. They got the right Medea. And she's got, like, the eyes in this movie that just, like, have that, like, longing look, dude. I don't know who this actress is. I've never seen her in anything else. But she, like, the way she does it is just so good. The movie is, like, so bad. Remember how I told you? Did I tell you that the other day? I like rewatching it to, like, pick the points out. Because it's, like, a 3-hour long thing, so I got to, like, cut it up. It's so bad. But some of it is just really, really great. So I'm excited to show you the parts that I think will be fun to make fun of and also the parts that'll be cool. But she just does a really great job. The way she stares at Jason is just like the way that the book talks about it. And this is, of course, where Ovid saw what he loves the most, which is love and desire and lust and taking and having. That's his main theme of the Metamorphosis, is all that stuff. The desire to have results in change. And so that's what he decides to write about, is this woman right here. But then, of course, this is Aetes, all right? Aetes is greasy, bro. And he finds out, because the men, Argus is one of the kids of Phrixus. Argus, he says, hey, these men are incredible. They saved us, but I'm not going to dog you at all. They're here for the Golden Fleece. And so the festival, like all the air taken out of the entire like festival and hospitality, it's all gone. And he says some like crazy things. One of the things he says is like, I should have ripped your tongues out and cut your thumbs off when I met you. But hold on, pause. Pause. Y'all have heard of that before. I should have cut your tongues out and I should have cut your thumbs off.
I've heard like
It is 100. It's 100% in the Bible a few times. And who does it in the Bible? David. God's BFF. Because what does it do? When you cut someone's tongue out and cut their thumbs off, what does that completely render them? Useless. They can't speak or do anything. Try doing anything without your thumbs.
It reminds us of the story that we read. Remember the guy who took advantage of his wife's sister?
Mm-hmm.
I can probably think of the
Yeah. You're talking about how Tereus cut out the tongue of Philomela? Yeah. It's a pretty humiliating thing to do. So that's what he says. So immediately right then we're like, okay, your hospitality had a condition. Which, guys, the whole thing about beautiful hospitality is the unconditional nature of it. That's the agape side of things. It's like, I don't care who you are, what you've done. I'm accepting you as my guest. Once I've done that, I'll do anything to keep you alive and safe. That's the beautiful nature of hospitality, is this deep-rooted, unconditional, protective, life-giving love. All right? And so he then hears that, and then we have this claim from Jason. I don't want to mess up any of his words, so I'm just going to read it. He says, we have not come to your city and into your palace to rob you. Who would undertake so long a journey over a perilous sea for the purpose of acquiring another's possessions? I'm not just here to acquire your possessions. My resolve was prompted by destiny. In the command of an evil king, grant our request and give us the golden fleece, and all of Greece will acclaim you. He's basically saying, hop into this current of fate and destiny that we're in. This isn't me just coming to take from you. I think that this is such an awesome philosophical take on his journey. We're not here to take from you. We're here to invite you into something that's moving stronger and more powerfully than what you consider yourself to be. But what did he do right there? More powerfully than what you consider yourself to be. Aetes is this amazing leader figure who has only known himself to be the spearhead by which everyone follows and gives energy to. Nothing is done in my kingdom without direct benefit to me. And if you do that, that joy will be brought to you. And this is what's so interesting to me, guys. That's true. Do y'all know what there was before there was anything else in the Garden of Eden? The very first thing that there was for all human beings in the Garden of Eden was work. I give you something to do. And that's right. That's the idea of righteousness. Because so many people look at Christianity and they say, don't do, cut away, get rid of this, you can't do that. It's all this like negative view. It's like, no, you have no idea. I'm not trying to take from you. I'm trying to give you something that you are not in control of that's way, way better than you could ever dream of. That's why I love this sentence so much. Like I know, please don't eat this tree. I know I'm saying don't eat this tree because I have something much better for you. And it's the work, the righteousness, the righteous labor that I give you. And that's so interesting how the curse from that point on and what we feel now, because we look at that and like, yeah, right, righteous work. You're right to say that because guess what the man's curse was? Labor now sucks for you. It used to be that when you did things, you felt my presence every time you did them. Now, sweat, blood, toil. You can still find me in it, but you have to feel that curse now. To know that the humbling of yourself is necessary to meet me in your work. Now there wasn't humility necessary at the beginning. It was just you and me together. We're just doing this, man. Nothing hard about it. We're just in it, bro. But now you've decided that you get to choose what's righteous to do and what's not righteous to do. Before, we were just in it. Now you've got to find your way back to me in this. I don't want that to be the case, so let me find a way to meet you in it so that no matter what, I'm with you. And that's the whole story of Scripture, man. But I love that this is his take, Jason's take. He's like, no. You're seeing it all wrong. Your perspective is all wrong. I'm not here to take your power away. I'm here to invite you into something greater. All of Greece will love you. And then this is Aeetes' response. Dude, this story is so good, bro. Why are these timid overtures, stranger? Why do we have to talk like little wimps, bro? You and your philosophy. All right? And this is where Aeetes kind of shows you. Yeah, there's power in the way that he was living his life, but dude, it's just so shallow. I hope you feel the shallow nature of this. Because Jason had that sort of attitude of like, I don't care what happens. The Lord's in control. Why should I worry about a thing? And so then Aeetes is like, yeah, well, prove it. Classic, dude. Classic. And that's what he says. If you are indeed the sons of gods, it's just why I had y'all do the incarnation kind of story thing. It's like you can't confront humans, all real, normal humans, without this kind of attitude towards it. All right? Those of you who do get baptized really do proclaim to your friends here at school, which like so hard to do. Like, hey, I live for the Lord. You say that, dude, get ready to lose a lot, bro. Nobody wants to be around somebody like that. You know why? Because they can't control anything when they're around somebody like that. They can't do what they want to do when they're around somebody like that. Because that person isn't them anymore. That person is with God now. That's so hard, bro. That's so hard. And then to carry that, and then to realize you made a mistake in that, and then your shame the devil tries to pull you down, be like, oh, but you did this after they found out that you got baptized. And then your shame pulls you down, like, oh, I guess I never really had it. It's crazy.
Students, don't forget if you are nominated for a student
Bell's
of the
gonna
quarter,
win, dude.
that
It
is happening
stinks.
during recharge in Mr.
We had so much more to
room
do.
102. Again, that is for student of the quarter, and then teachers who nominated them, that will be in 102 during recharge. Also at the bell, varsity boys and girls golf are dismissed.
All right, so he basically just pulls like the toxic masculinity thing, where he's like, a real leader doesn't talk like that. A real leader could do what I can do. And that's what he says right here. He's like, I'm going to give you a bunch of things that I usually do myself in my amazing, God-given talents and skills and powers, and I'm going to make you do those things. And if you can do those things, then you would deserve to have the fleece. It sounds a lot like Peleus all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right, peace out.